imagine you're on a service like OkCupid, which asks you really sensitive questions like, what do you think of abortion? And that data grows. You think you are sharing this because you want to find a life partner with similar beliefs. But that data is out in the world in which you cannot control. There's a European consumer organization that looked, for example, at the third-party sharing that dating apps do. And they found for several of them that there were literally hundreds or thousands of third-party service providers that this data was shared with. There is no other fundamental human right we can sign away with ticking a box. But with privacy, supposedly we can. Why are we still stuck with this? Because data as a resource means that data becomes a valid means for exchange. I think the question of consent here is a really good one to kind of look at to understand this better. Feminist debates around sexual consent. What we learn there is that consent is not simply a yes or no at the very beginning of a process. Consent has to be built and it has to be asked again and again in different situations for different acts. This really puts into the picture the question of power relations, right? What feminism has always argued is you need to create conditions so that consent can be given free and equally. You cannot assume. This is why, for example, in many countries, institutions of higher education have rules that there cannot be sexual relationships between a professor and a student. It's a recognition of the fact, not that two people might not be attracted to each other, but that there is a fundamental power differential there, which in that context is a problem. So looking at consent in that kind of a way, what you then see is that we cannot negotiate when it comes to data governance. In fact, those contracts that you tick a box for on purpose are built in such a way that you have to accept the whole thing or you're not getting the service. So thinking from a perspective around consent that puts people centrally, not just in terms of their data, but their privacy, their bodily integrity, their autonomy, their dignity, you actually start to ask much more fundamental restructuring of our digital environment.